Yo, what's up, comrades? We're here for fairy tale number 24, and this one was a banger. It starts off with the battle between Natsu and Mystigan, which is between magic and non-magic, and they have a little fun fight. Mystigan is like, "Hey, you can't go easy, and people aren't going to believe it." And Natsu said, "Who says anything about going easy?" And they just like punch, fire magic punch. And then after Natsu gets knocked down, he's like grinning, and then all the magic users get teleported back to Earth because all the magic is like officially gone. So all the fairy tale people say goodbye. This actually includes Extelia and Panther Lily, because they also have magic. Remember. So they all go teleporting back. They all say their goodbyes. It's very heartfelt. And then good Jalel, the prince of this world, he rises up and tells everyone they're going to be okay. And that's the end of the Eidos world or whatever that we get to. Everyone else pops back in. Fairy Tale looks good. Magnolia looks good. And all the Extilla are there. And everyone's like, "Naughty Deska?" And then we have like some back and forth with them. And we have a whole thing with Carla and her mom, the queen. If you haven't figured it out, her mom's the queen. Obviously, we get like the whole story about how she is the queen is like a future seer, and that at some point she saw that like the humans were going to do something crazy and hurt everybody, and so they sent like 100 eggs with their children to the regular world to protect them. But then Carla also has some of that like future sight because she's her daughter, and so she confused that as orders, and the whole thing became very confused. But it's a good thing she came, because everything worked out well and everyone came here and they're super happy and they're going to go find a place to live. And then they have like a hug it out moment, which is like super sweet. And then Happy and his dad act the same, and it's super adorable, and his mom gets it but Happy doesn't because he's an idiot. And then all Extelia like goes and they're all smiling, and it's like raining, and it's a super cute little thing. And then all of a sudden we see this like done, and it's Panther Lily, only he's like a cute little cat now instead of his big panther cat. And he's like, "This is me in this world apparently." And Gajil's like, "My cat, of course you come to Fairy Tale." So he's super happy because he finally got his like cat friend. And Gajil and Panther Lily has somebody with him. It's dun Lysana. That's right, Lysana, the dead sister of Elfman and Mara Jane. What's she doing here? Well, she is actually the Lysana of this world, not the other world. Nani deska? So she sees Natsu, she runs and gives him a hug, and then they're like, everyone's super fucking confused about what's going on. And she's like, "I didn't die 2 years ago. I got teleported." There was like a Elfman and Mary Jane thought I died, but what happened was I got sucked into one of these anima things, and when I woke up I went to Fairy Tale, and their Lysana had also died, and so they took me in, and I just pretended. And so when I saw Natsu, when he came way earlier, like 3 volumes ago, I couldn't like be mean to Mary Jane and Elfman, so I just faked it, and I was like, whatever, I'll just end up staying here. And I just was super sad, but then I was gonna get over it. But then when everyone started teleporting out of there, I started teleporting out of there. I apologized, and Mary Jane and Elfman of that world were like, "No, we knew the whole time. We just loved you, and go be sweet and help the Mary Jane and Elfman in that world." And then she's like, "No, I love you guys," and like, "We love you too." And then, oh my gosh, this is hard stuff, bros. So we go to the cathedral, and Mary Jane and Elfman are standing over Lysana's grave, and she goes running up and calls their name, and they turn around, and then everyone's like crying and hugging. And I'm not crying, you're crying. Fuck you guys. Like, for real. I'm at the gym reading this, and I'm like tearing up a little bit. Like, this is fucking manga, man. It's so good. Look at how we're good. It is like so sweet. It is like incredible. God damn you, Hiro Mashima. You're the best. Anyway, then we see this asshole guy laying in the woods, and he's talking about being sorrowful that he's here or something. Okay, so then we head back to Fairy Tale, and everyone's partying because of Lysana. Juvia is super jealous because Happy told her that the Gray in the other world is in love with Juvia, and then she's like, "Why can't this Gray be in love with me?" And then she's about to take her clothes off to fight, and Lucy's like, "No, stop!" And then we got Gildart and Makarov. They're just like standing around smiling and being happy that everything's together. And then we go to the new council of Guild. They had to get reformed because the last one got completely destroyed, and they're like talking about Fairy Tale and stuff. And then the new leader, Grand Domo, is like, Fairy Tale's got one more chance, and then we're gonna like do something about it because they gotta bring it down. And then we go back like the next morning, everyone's like passed out from being drunk and partying in the Fairy Tale Guild, except Lucy, who comes up and is like, "Oh, Natsu's super cute." And then he punches her like in the face, knocks her all the way out of the building, and she's like, "Lord Christ." Then we go back to the creepy guy in the woods, and a bunch of wolves come around him, and he's like, "Stop!" And then he just kills them all immediately, and all the plant life and all the birds and everything dies. And he's like, "Natsu, I hope I can see you soon." Creepy as shit. And then we get my favorite part of Fairy Tale every time, and it's Lucy taking a shower. It's so good. We get some side boob, we get some like almost boobs with the tits covered by steam and the whole thing. And then Kana's there, and Lucy's like, what are you doing here? And she's just like sad hippopotamus. And they take a bath together, which is like peak. Oh my gosh, this whole scene is so good. And then Kana says something about quitting the guild. And the next day, Lucy's talking to Mary Jane about it, and she's like, oh yeah, she does it every year. And then all the guys in the guild, or a lot of people in the guild, are like fighting over doing quests, and they're freaking out and stuff. And while that's all going on, Lysana and Wendy are hanging out with Carla, who says that she's kind of starting to be able to control her like future telling ability. It's not super good or strong or whatever, but she senses like two guys are gonna have a conversation about something, and then they do, and they're like, wow, that's really impressive. And she's like, I don't know how useful it's gonna be. We then switch over to Urza and Panther Lady, who are having like a super fast, awesome like anime sword fight, and then Panther Lady turns back into his little cat self, and he's like, well, I can only do that for a few minutes because he was transformed to his normal self. And Gitchel's like, isn't he great? My cat's the best. And Lucy's like, what the fuck's going on with all this stuff? And Mary Jane's like, you'll see tomorrow. So the next day comes, and then the S-class wizards, which are Mary Jane, Urza, and Gildart, because I think Laxus is an S, but he got kicked out, yeah. And Makarov is there. And then they announced the yearly tradition of the announcing of those who can compete for S rank. And that's why everyone was super excited and super trying to make an impression. Everything is because they have to they choose 8 wizards who can take the S-class wizard qualification test, which remember the class lets you determine like what kind of quest you can go on. And so everyone's super pumped about it, and then they're going to go to this Sirius Island, which is like crazy place. So he announces the 8 wizards, and of course it's Natsu and Gray, but also Juvia, and then Elfman, Kana, which is why she was so sad, we learn more about, and then Freed, who's the Rising Guild guy, Levy, which is like kind of a shocker, and then this guy Mest Gritter, and it's like Mest, I've never seen that guy before, and maybe I have or not, but we find out Mest is a disciple of Mystigan. It's like Mystigan was like his teacher and whatnot, so he wants to become S-class so he can take over from Mystigan, because Mystigan's stuck in the other world now, leading those people. And then Kana's super sad about the whole situation, and then we get Gajil being super upset that he wasn't chosen and Jubi was chosen, and Urza like shuts him down about the whole thing. Carla gets a bad impression. She sees like the crazy guy from before who like killed all the wolves and whatnot, and then she sees Kana crying and Natsu looking scared, and she becomes very concerned and tells Wendy that under no circumstances is she allowed to participate. We find out that each of the 8 get to choose one person to go along with them as a partner, but it can't be an S-class wizard, and it has to be someone within Fairy Tail. So then we have the next chapter is all about people picking who they're going to pick. So Natsu obviously chooses Happy, and then let's see, Juvia chooses. Oh no, Gray chooses Locke. I think Lysana goes with Juvia because Juvia and Lysana were like friends in the other world. Yes, and then the fairy girl, what's her name? Evergreen. Evergreen goes with Elfman. So clearly they're gonna bang. Levy goes with Gajil because she doesn't have any confidence in herself, but he has lots of confidence. And it's just like the excellent writing that occurs in this fucking book, man. And like some of these manga and stuff, it's just like mind blowing because it's like Gajil. There's a whole thing where Gajil is like almost killed her and hung her up, and like the whole thing with the guild. But now he's gonna do everything he can to help her, and like it shows that like people can change and that they have an arc and they grow. And it's like there's like 45 characters in this guild. They all have like arcs and time to breathe. And God, I love manga so much. Holy shit. This is so bad. Fairy Tail is so good. It's like badass as hell, and there's like crying moments and sweet moments, and like you look at like other shonen stuff, and like I like my Dragon Ball, and I like my Seven Deadly Sins is another excellent one that I've read. But like this, man, Fairy Tail's so fucking good. It's just like incredible. Anyway, so then outside it's like snowing because it's winter or whatever, and then Carla again tells Wendy she doesn't want her participating, and she's like, oh, why would I participate? Who's going to choose me? And then the Mest guy, who's a disciple of Mystigan, he's like, he calls her the priestess guy, will you come with me? And he's like, yeah, and she's like, yes. And then we just get some cute snowfall, and Natsu's like super excited because their whole thing is that if he can become S-class wizards, and maybe he can find Ignil, his dad. And Lucy's thinking about it, enjoying the snow, and then she sees Kana passed out in an alleyway, so she drags her into her home and takes care of her. And then Kana says something about being able to talk to somebody if she becomes an S-class wizard, and how this is her 5th time, like she's failed every year. And then Lucy's like, I'm going to be your partner, and we're going to make sure you don't leave the guild because you're a wizard, you're a fairy tale wizard, and we're all friends. And then, she cries, and it's very sentimental. And then we get Lucy sweating to death on this boat in a sexy bikini, laying back, and it's goddamn. Manga is so good. And we see Naked Gray too for all you ladies out there. And Naked Elfman. It's so excellent because apparently like the trade winds are super hot here, so it's like not just hot because whatever, it's like super hot. And then they get to the island, and before they actually land on the island, Makarov explains that there's everyone's gonna like there's different levels to the test to become S class, and that the first level is they have to get to the start point, and then there's 8 paths because there's 8 teams, and like one path is like peace and quiet, but then like one path they have to fight Gildart, one they have to fight Urza, one they have to fight Mirror Jane, 2 of them they have to battle each other. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then the last one's parts. Yeah, and so but it's like random. They don't exactly know which one's which. So this is a test of luck and combat prowess. And so then it's like everyone's like, oh, okay, and he's like, the battle starts now, and everyone's like, what? And then Natsu grabs Happy grabs Natsu, and they take off and smash right into like a barrier. And if you remember, Fried, he casts like those barriers. Lucky for Levi, she can override it. So her and Gajil take off, and then no one else can get out because she just let herself out. And then Evergreen, because she knows Fried's abilities, she's like, come on, Elfman, I can get us through this. I've worked with this. He's been like my partner for so long. And so they get out too, and then everyone else has to wait like 5 minutes. And so they're just like chilling, waiting around, and then everyone takes off, and they have to like swim to the shore and whatnot, except Wendy and Mest, who just like disappeared, and no one knows what happens to them. Anyway, so then for the rest of this volume, we follow Lucy, Kana, and then Natsu and Happy, mostly Lucy and Kana. So Lucy and Kana head through, and Lucy's like, oh, we probably got the peaceful path. This is going to be so great. And then they run into Fried and Backlaw. I think that's his name. He's the puppet guy who's part of the Raijin Guild. And if you remember, they both fought them before, and it was like ruh-roh. And so then they go back and forth a little bit, and then the girls are wearing like sexy bikinis, and Fred gets a little concerned, and so Kana summons a bunch more of like sexy girls with her card magic, and then he gets like super concerned. He's like, oh, I can't fight, I'm so distracted. And so then Backlaw starts like fighting them with his puppets and whatnot, and so Lucy summons Virgo, who does virtually nothing but just takes some hits, and then Kana summons like a fountain, and because of the fountain, Lucy's able to summon Aquarius, and Aquarius is the sexy Lamia chick, and she just blasts the shit out of Fried and Backlaw. And then her and Kana get into it with each other about being sexy and being girls and boyfriends and stuff, and then they both kind of make fun of Lucy, and she's like, come on, guys. But they beat him. So then Kana and Lucy are able to continue forward, and after they leave, we see Fried and Backlav, and they get up, and Backlav's like, are you sure that's what you wanted to do? And he's like, yes, I want to turn Fairy Tail into a guild that Laxus can come back to, and that he'll definitely come back if, such and such. And he's like, I'm not concerned about being S-class. Plus, I feel like I owe Kana and Lucy for like saving our lives, essentially, for helping us realize that friendship is magic and all that good stuff. And he's like, if anyone else had been here, I'd have beat the shit out of him, but because it was those two, he essentially, like, I let them win, so they're extremely lucky. And then we see a sexy shot of Kana and Lucy walking through a cavern, and then Natsu's running along. He's like, oh, I bet this is Urza's. I'm so excited because he chose like Cave E or whatever. And then he runs into Gildart, and then Gildart is like, yo, bad luck, huh? And Natsu's like, no, this is the best luck. I'm all fired up. But we will get to that in a couple weeks because that's the end of volume 24, which again is excellent all around. So go ahead, like, share, subscribe, comment, and I'll catch you guys later. Bye.